Sebastian wants genuine relationships, and he wonders why there seems to be no actual connection between himself and those around him. He feels alone. Somehow it seems like everyone else has got it figured out, and he feels like he's missing a piece of the puzzle. I used to feel this exact same way, and I wanted more friends, like true friends, like friends that I could hang out with, maybe not even necessarily many, just friends that I could just be myself entirely with. I tried to work on my social skills. I tried making friends and being social through books of social skills and YouTube videos. It was never really easy to still make those genuine connections. So for a while, I just walk around all alone at lunch, kind of not nervous, but not wanting people to see me alone, if that made sense. I kind of wanted to look like I was always going somewhere, because the idea of sitting alone just kind of scared me a little bit. The interesting thing is, however, is when I found that missing piece of the puzzle, I applied what I'm going to tell you in this video. I really got those warm and authentic and loving connections that I had been going after, and bro, they're great, and you will get those for yourself too. You see, if there's any Sebastians watching this video, really, you will get the most out of this video if you really apply all the actionable steps that I've got for you, because I've got many actionable steps that I myself applied, and I went through the challenges that you will have to go through, and these are necessary for you to get those relationships, those connections that you want. So I've spoken before in other YouTube videos, I used to be quiet and awkward as so at one point I had enough of this, and I started really deciding that I wanted to work on my social skills. I was gonna fix these social skills. So I started reading many books, it's just here, I didn't plan on it, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. And I also read another one called Influence by Robert B. Cialdini. And I learned a lot from those books, and they were very cool. However, when I applied them, I did get a lot of attention, but none of it felt quite genuine, and actually a lot of it was draining, contrasting to how things are right now, where actually I'm still an introvert. I get my energy from being alone. However, I enjoy those social situations, and they drain me far less. So at one point it just didn't become sustainable anymore, and I got quiet again, and I realized after that at the end of making all these connections that I assumed were there, at the end of it all, I was still alone, and that really didn't feel too good. But you see, I learned something quite valuable. Learning social skills just overcomplicates genuine connection, and that's really what you want, because social skills are for entrepreneurial endeavors like business, persuasion, getting people to buy your product, getting people to like you for those reasons. And those reasons, like books like How to Win Friends and Influence People and book Influence by Robert B. Cialdini that I had read, they did apply to actual relationships in real life. However, while you can apply those and feel better, see more in your relationships, they're really just adding fluff to the 80% task that really gives you all of the results you're looking for 20% of the work. 80% of the social connection that you want comes from simply just being warm to those around you. Now, it sounds simple, and it's purely primal, and I will get into what being warm means, but first let's think about why being warm works. Humans have only stayed in this earth as a result of working together. When you feel like you have an actual connection, when you feel like someone is on your side, that is what warmth is. When you feel like someone is on your side, you actually enjoy spending more time with them, because they, in this primal monkey brain of yours, they will be there for when you get when the saber-toothed tiger is attacking you, if you want to go that route, or that elephant is chasing you. But how do you implement that feeling of warmth, that feeling that someone is on your side? Well, there's many ways to do it, but just as an actionable step, the next time that you like something about someone, don't keep it to yourself, say it. What do you have to lose? It will make the person feel good, and in fact, they will trust you more if it is genuine. Of course, it must be genuine. And if you know someone who's gone through a particularly tough time, ask them about it. If you've noticed that they've overcome something, or you think that they're still going through that tough time, ask them about it and ask them what they're learning. Even just be there for them. And with what they tell you, tell them that you admire that quality of them and genuinely mean it, because you cannot fake that. I was actually in physics class, and we were just working in a group lab or whatever, and then I just looked up at my group members, and I just said, you know what, you guys are pretty cool. I really enjoy working with you guys, these labs that we do together. And it was just something simple and not really that elaborate. It only took 5 seconds to say, and it ended up actually affecting how we interacted later in the future. Simply, they were more warm. Not that they weren't already, but they were more happy to see me. Every time I walk around or whatever, even if I don't see them, they're just like, hey Daniel, what's up? I appreciate that. And in fact, that's how it's kind of a loop that ends up happening, a positive feedback loop, where you feel like they're on your side and you feel like they're on your side, whatever. Both of you feel like you're both on each other's side, because that is the case. That is that genuine connection, and it grows, it feeds off of that. In fact, there was this other time where I asked a deep question to just some guy in my mechanics class. So while we were tightening the bolts, I said, you know what, dude? How, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you feel like you are actually being authentic, just being yourself when you're at school? And then we were talking about it, like he said, it fluctuates, and it was like an interesting conversation. And then that conversation kind of led to us like talking about more interesting things as time went by. This genuine connection that builds, all of this warmth, it stems from giving. Simply just giving, that is your gift. Being there for someone, your time, looking at that person, actually listening to them when they speak. Through all of it, not expecting anything in return. That is how you build those relationships. And inadvertently, this selflessness actually ends up giving you things in return, things that you really didn't even care about getting. So this actually happened to me a couple weeks ago. I was hanging out with my girlfriend and her brothers, and we went to Tim Hortons. That is a Canadian place that we all love over here, or at least the majority of us. So we're in line, we end up buying stuff, and then after we're waiting for our food, and my girlfriend, she goes back to the house that's nearby, and she starts cleaning her room because she doesn't want me to see all that bad stuff. And so then I realize when she's back, and right when we got our food, I'm thinking, oh, I'll get something for your other brother. So I go back in line and I go and buy something. But just before I buy something, the cash register that wasn't open, it opens, and suddenly I see a familiar face, not too familiar. And then this guy, I say, hey, what's up? How's it going, man? I'd just like to order insert whatever. I think it was just an iced coffee that I got for him. And the dude said, wow, like, I recognize you, dude. How are you doing? And like, he was asking me if I used to go to a different Tim Hortons from a different area. And then eventually, like, he's making the stuff. He makes it really quickly. What a guy. What a G. And then he gives me another drink too. And I didn't order another thing. I'm just thinking that in my head, like in like a split 0.52 milliseconds. And he says, dude, for free. You got this. You have a great day. And man, that was really kind. That was just an act of kindness, just randomly, simply just because he just wanted to do it. Treat others like the type of relationship that you wish you had with them, in a totally non-egotistical way. The more you give is actually the more you get. In this case, I always make it a point to treat fast food workers, or just employees in general, with as much respect and kindness as I can, because I know behind the scenes they actually go through a lot. I myself, working at a Little Caesars, they go through a bunch of shit that they don't tell you. There's so many customers that are just like angry at them for no reason. This guy, he's remembered me because I've just been kind to him, and I've just tried to cheer him up, even like without anything in return. Like this, I used to go to Tim Hortons a lot more like a couple years ago, and that's when I remember seeing him, when I was just slightly younger. And I didn't do it because I wanted anything out of them. That's kind of the point. In fact, that is the point. Giving life for the sake of just giving life. No strings attached. There's this idea of, I have no enemies. And it is a very nice idea. However, we need to expand on it if we want to truly give more. And that is, yes, I have no enemies, and I love all. I have no enemies because I love all. I truly believe humans are good, and that if you have anybody in your life who feels like an enemy, or who seems to take life from you in a very like figurative sense, then you aren't being as loving as you could be. During my social skills research, I discovered that relationships are actually just demonstrations of reciprocity. In the book Influence by Robert B. Cialdini, reciprocity is basically this give and take. And so it's another primal thing. When humans evolved to give and not expect anything in return, they evolved with this idea that if they gave something, they would get it back. And eventually that just kind of became a thing. When somebody invites you to their Christmas party, you invite them to I don't know, New Year's. When you go to a store and you pay for something, then they give you something. And even our relationships, they are based around this concept. If you want somebody to be more kind, then be more kind to them. If you want them to be more loving, be more loving with them. If you want to have your relationship more genuine, then be genuine. There is no way around it. As an actionable step, take responsibility for your relationships right now. You can start with giving your mother just a hug when you wake up or the first time you see her in the morning, and give her a kiss and just see how the fullness of her loving transforms. Hold the door open for people when they walk by. Text someone from your school and ask them how they're doing. Ask them how they got so buff or whatever to make them feel special. And if someone wrongs you, forgive them. You would want to be forgiven too. Set boundaries and treat them with respect, and they will treat you with respect in return. In fact, a couple months ago, before my girl and I were together, there was this other guy who was into her, and he was kind of jealous of me because my girl and I, we had very much chemistry. And so he actually started spreading rumors about me and telling lies that just weren't true. Things like I was only hanging out with her because of her body, which is not true. That's the last thing I ever noticed. And other things like I was a drug addict or something, and that I would sell drugs or whatever to everybody around me in my school, which was totally not true. I don't know how that started. Probably because I'm just so relaxed. And every time that this happened, you know, she didn't really believe it. Like, obviously she took it with a grain of salt, because that's just not how I was. So I remember when I first learned about this, for a second I was kind of somewhat pissed, like for like just literally a second, and then it just kind of went away, because, you know, good people do bad things. The truth is that we give the love that we know. If a person is not magnifying love, they're likely not getting much of it in return from the world or from those around them. So be a man whose strength transcends that negative absence of love, and apply love to it. See, immediately I forgave him. I mean, I set that boundary. I made sure that there was respect, because you can't let that happen to you. You need to stand up for yourself. But now we're chill. Literally on Christmas I said Merry Christmas, he said Merry Christmas. On New Year's he said Happy New Year, and I said Happy New Year. When you can do this, you actually bring out the best in people, because they learn that they can actually do better too. So I'm noticing with this guy too that he's being more of integrity, more loving, and that is entirely special. That is that gift that you can give to other people, seeing the best in them and bringing out the best in them with that love, with that warmth. When I'm going from class to class, I say hello and what's up, bro, with every person that I know that I'm walking across, and I make it a point, give them a little wave or a smile at least. Usually try to say their name, because that makes them feel special. 1/5 of the time, I would say, I don't get a hi or a wave back in return. And at first it was kind of embarrassing at first, like it kind of like hurt. It kind of made me close up a little bit and just kind of become a little bit more self-conscious. And that was last year. And then this year, that kind of started to tone down a little bit. I still kind of feel like, wow, tough that they didn't say hi back or whatever. Why did I continue to do this regardless if I felt like they weren't going to say hi back? Why? Why did I continue to do it even if it felt bad, even if there was the possibility of them not acknowledging it? Well, because everybody is just as insecure as you are. So build them up. You would want the same for yourself, because everybody's going through some shit that they're not talking about. Every single person. And the problem could be higher for you or for them, but to them, it's just an issue of perspective. That pain is the same. So be the light in the world of others and stop playing games. Stop trying to look cool when you walk by, like mewing, like ignoring people when they walk past. Don't do that. Literally, that's just like trying to look cool in any way. That's simply just insecurity, and it shows. And insecurity is simply just kind of a form of selfishness, because if you're so worried about how other people are perceiving you, your attention is faced inward. Your love is kind of expanding to itself, and you are not giving, because this focus on yourself takes away focus from the rest of the world. And in this way, you are being selfish. And it sounds bad to say, but it's the truth. That is what's happening. Objective. You want these warm and genuine and loving connections, right? So be warm, loving, and genuine. You get what you give. So smile to everybody. And if you're struggling with smiling, actually, I remember it was kind of hard to force a smile, because that's not a real smile. This one is. The idea is you want to actually just think of something that you're grateful for. Just think of something that makes you happy, and you will smile naturally, and don't hold it back. And if you struggle to be a more positive person, you can just write down every single day 5 things that you're grateful for, and naturally your perspective will shift, especially if you do it right before night, because that triggers neuroplasticity, which is just a total other thing, because your brain rewires itself when you sleep, when you get that dopamine. Yeah. That's some bro science for you, except rooted in actual science. And bonus points if you greet people, if you say hi to someone and with their name, even just a little wave. Even if they don't say it back, it makes them feel special, even if they don't show it too. It's easy to get stuck in the stage of just being warm and not really building off of those relationships. I remember for a very long time, I would be saying hi to people in the halls, right? And I'd be very friendly with a lot of people. However, I didn't actually hang out with any of them. The reason is, and the reason why you will also get stuck in this situation, unless you do what I'm about to tell you, is that you must be the initiator. You have to be that one who says, hey, let's hang out at this time, at this point. And part of it's to do with the masculine direction and clarity of purpose, but the other part is to do with the fact that everybody's busy. And the fact that you are making time for them, that also makes them feel special. Now, me personally, I am a very busy guy, just like you are. Now, I very much pick and choose the kinds of times I spend. And so this is why those relationships, they're kind of more at school, you know? And I'm very fulfilled and happy with those relationships, and I'm very grateful for them. However, if you really want to hang out with somebody, do not think it is weird to want to be around them. In fact, there is this modern narrative of neediness that's just stupid. Like, people will actively pretend like they're uninterested in a relationship or connection, not necessarily romantic, because they assume that it's good for the relationship. And it's so backwards, it's so dumb, because the truth is that with that reciprocity that we just spoke of, the truth is, when you show you care about someone, when you show that you're on somebody's side, when you show that you are a friend, you will have that friendship. So don't be afraid of being needy. In fact, the people who are really your people, when you show that interest in them and in their life, they will show that interest with you. Because not everybody can do that. And the truth is, everybody wants that. Nobody says it, but that's what everybody wants. Everybody wants that guy to be genuinely interested in them and make time for them and make it easy for them. So be the initiator, because if you don't be the initiator, you will really not grow those relationships. That is how you grow those relationships. I've just been talking about being warm and how to actually like build rapport, or actually become that guy who's just very sociable and very not extravagant. I don't think that that's the right word to be around, but the guy who's very, very positive and just gives life to those around him. But if you really want to grow those relationships, you've got to be the initiator. You've got to take the next steps. So what do you need to get out of this video? 80% of what you want your relationships to come to become, comes from being genuinely warm to those around you. And this is because relationships are rooted in the reciprocity rule, meaning that the more you love, the more love you get in return. The more you give, the more you get. And you must make sure that that genuine giving is totally selfless, because people are struggling. And if you're being selfish by worrying about yourself and your insecurity, and I really don't mean to phrase it so terribly, but that's what it is. You're ignoring what other people are going through, and you have the capacity to be the light in somebody's world. We don't always say it. Sometimes it shows, sometimes it doesn't, but everybody's going through something, and a lot of people are surrounded by a lot of darkness, and you can give light to them. And above all, on top of all of this, be a man who does not settle for anything less than the fullest extent of love in everything in his life. Once you let go of that insecurity and you can really truly be warm to those around you, you will get those connections, and you will be so just glad that you let go of those walls, because you will become more confident when you do this too. So if you got some value out of this video, subscribe, bro. If you didn't get any value of it, dislike the video. Do not subscribe. And if this video was a waste of your time, I'm sorry about that. We've got a lot of work to do though. I love you so much, man. I can't wait. See you in the next one, bro. Oh shit. Oh man. No, my phone's okay.